Welcome back to Hannity. So the president's wrapping up his trip to Africa. He managed to find some time to fire a few quick jabs at the GOP presidential field. During a press conference in Ethiopia, the president took some cheap shots at Governor Mike Huckabee and Ted Cruz. Watch this.
The particular comments of Mr. Huckabee are, I think, part of just a general pattern that we've seen that would be considered ridiculous if it weren't so sad. I mean, we've had a sitting senator called John Kerry Pontius Pilate. We've had a sitting senator who also happens to be running for president suggest that I'm the leading state sponsor of terrorism. These are leaders in the Republican Party.
Here with reaction, author of the bestseller, Time for Truth, Reigniting the Promise of America, 2016 Republican presidential contender, Texas Senator Ted Cruz. Senator, the Iranians right now are not abiding by the deal. They wouldn't let the IAEA inspect their nuclear detonator sites. And we're giving them $150 billion, and we can't get a deal that releases 4 Americans and says they've got to recognize Israel's right to exist? What is he talking about here?
Well, you know, unfortunately, with President Obama, it's all politics all the time. It speaks volumes that he's halfway across the globe, and he feels the need to attack me directly. And it's interesting, Sean, he didn't actually dispute the substantive criticism. So the point that he responds to there is I've pointed out that under the Obama nuclear deal, over $100 billion will flow to Iran. Iran is the world's leading state sponsor of terrorism, so much of that money will end up in the hands of Hamas and Hezbollah and the Houthis and other radical Islamic terrorists. And if this deal goes through, the Obama administration will become quite literally the world's leading financier of radical Islamic terrorism. Now, President Obama didn't dispute that. He didn't point to any entity on earth that would send more money to radical Islamic terrorism. He didn't dispute that billions of dollars in the control of the American government will be used to fund jihadists who will take that money and murder Americans, murder Israelis, murder Europeans. Instead, Senator, he simply attacked us.
$150 billion based on their economic size is the equivalent of $8 trillion to the U.S. economy. All right, I want to go to what you...
Well, and I'll tell you real quickly, Sean, since he's not willing to discuss the substance, I'll make an invitation right here tonight, which is I will invite President Obama at any time and place of his choosing to debate the substance of the Iran deal. Let's do it in front of the American people anytime in the next 60 days that Congress has to review this deal. If he's so convinced he's right on the substance, I will welcome him anytime, and if he's unwilling to show up, he can send as a proxy John Kerry. Let's debate the substance of how much this endangers the United States of America, Israel, and the world. It's the single greatest national security threat facing America.
You gave a powerful floor speech on Friday, in which you stated that Mitch McConnell had lied to you. And this was about the import-export bill, basically corporate cronyism, where we, I guess, back up, give loan guarantees to billions of dollars the taxpayers do. Did he or did he not say to you, there is no deal, that this wasn't going to come up? Because that's the crux of it. Either what he said to you is true or not true.
Right.
What is the bottom line?
He said it multiple times back in May when we were debating Trade Promotion Authority, TPA. I asked him at a Senate lunch. It looked like a deal had been cut to reauthorize the corporate welfare that is the Export-Import Bank. And I asked him, what deal did you cut? And he said 3 times, there is no deal, there is no deal, there is no deal. He said it not just to me, but to all the other Republican senators. And Friday on the Senate floor, I recounted, here's what he said. And his actions were directly contrary.
All right. So, but there's a poll that came out, and it's fascinating. The Republicans have lost 18%.
Yep.
Here's what I'm trying to understand. In 2013, every Republican, when they were running in 2012, 2010, they all said they'd repeal and replace Obamacare.
Yep.
They voted to do it when it didn't matter, symbolically, but when it came to defunding it and using their constitutional power, you stood alone. I think there were 2 other senators that joined you, or 3 other senators in the well as you went through your filibuster on issues of immigration. health care. Time and again, why do they keep caving? And are they not understanding the American people are fed up that they're not keeping their promises?
Well, it's even worse than that. It is Republican leadership that is leading the effort to kill conservative principles. And the sad reality is Republican leadership, they're not listening to you and me. They're not listening to the conservatives who elected them. They're instead part of what I call the Washington cartel, career politicians in both parties who get in bed with lobbyists and special interests and grow government. This weekend, we saw Republican leadership kill an amendment to defund Planned Parenthood. We saw Republican leadership kill an amendment to stop the Iran deal unless Iran recognizes Israel and releases our hostages. We saw Republican leadership kill an amendment to end sanctuary cities and pass Cates Law. We saw Republican leadership kill an amendment to end the congressional exemption
Why would they do
from
that?
Obamacare.
Why?
Because it's all one and the same. What we have today is the McConnell-Reed leadership team. The priorities of Republican leadership and the priorities of Democratic leadership are the same. It is the Washington Party. They grow government. They fight side by side to do it. Whether it is cronyism and corporate welfare like the Export-Import Bank that both McConnell and Reed are fighting side by side, whether it is fighting to confirm Loretta Lynch as Attorney General, which Republican leadership did. They're not listening to us. And, Sean, it underscores the need for a strong conservative president. We're not going to turn around this country from Congress because there are too many career politicians who are captive of the lobbyist. But the last president who stood up to the Washington cartel was Ronald Reagan. The Reagan Revolution came from the people. And what I believe Republican primary voters are looking for is someone who's been a consistent conservative. Show me where you've stood up not just to Democrats, but to members of your own party, to the Washington cartel. And I'll tell you this, if I'm elected president, I'm going to tell Republican leadership, if you pass corporate welfare, if you pass corrupt legislation, I will veto it. And as president, like Reagan did, I'm going to stand with the people and fight to defund Planned Parenthood, to repeal Obamacare, to stop amnesty, to actually stand with millions of courageous conservatives across this country.
All right, Senator. Thanks for being with us. Pretty inspiring.
Thank you, Sean.
What happened on Friday. Interesting. We'll see how it develops.